Now, the Syrian opposition says it is leaving UN peace talks in Geneva and that it can't continue while civilians in Syria continue to suffer. What's known as the High Negotiations Committee was holding a third round of indirect talks, they described them as, with the government in Geneva to try and find a solution to the 5-year conflict.
To the international community, I say there cannot be a solution until the plight of the Syrian people is ended. No solution can be reached with Bashar al-Assad in power. We cannot accept to be part in these negotiations that are providing nothing but prolonging the plight of the Syrian people. We cannot be party to a political process that will yield in nothing but provide the world to this belligerent, murderous regime. Therefore, and in the light of the deteriorating humanitarian issues and the daily bombardment by the Russians, the Supreme Committee took a decision yesterday that was made known to Mr. de Mistura that we have suspended our participation in the negotiations and we will not be present on the UN premises while our people are being shelled, bombarded, besieged and starved to death.
Well, my colleague Reza Sayed has been following developments. He's in Geneva.
The bad news keeps piling up here in Geneva. These talks were already in a fragile state, but now, based on statements by Riyad Hijab, the head of the HNC, the main opposition group, you could describe these talks as being in danger of falling apart. In a nutshell, at this point, there's absolutely no indication if or when these indirect negotiations will resume. In a sometimes heated and angry speech, Riyad Hijab essentially said the Syrian government is not serious about this process, not serious about reaching a political solution. And he said that the HNC will not return to the negotiating table unless there was concrete progress in those 3 areas: humanitarian aid, cessation of hostilities, and the return of detainees. Mr. Hijab said that the opposition only agreed to be part of this process when the international community and the UN promised that there would be progress in those areas. Mr. Hijab's statements, a stark contrast to Mr. de Mistura yesterday. Remember, the UN envoy, he was the one who announced the pause yesterday, and he seemed to downplay the significance, saying that the HNC, its members, would remain in Geneva and he would reconvene with them on Friday, and he suggested that it would be a possibility that the talks would resume at that point. Mr. Hijab today essentially dismissing that, saying that there's no timetable for the opposition to return to the talks unless there's concrete evidence that there's progress in those areas. By any measure, a bad day for these talks here in Geneva.
Inside Syria, at least 39 people have been killed by government airstrikes in Idlib province. That's in the northwest of the country, in the town of Marat al-Numan.